What's going on, Sky Squad? We are back in the building, and I know we are doing this nice and early today on this good Monday morning. But y'all, I got so much to do today. So I was like, we're gonna have to get in this Married to Medicine and this Potomac recap, and we're gonna have to do it nice and early. Okay. Now, I'm gonna start with Married to Medicine today, just so you guys are aware. All right. Because the news to me, I mean, it's two different types of shows, okay? Two different types of shows right now with Married to Medicine and Potomac. And man, the ending of Married to Medicine had me a little shook, but I can't really say that I was super surprised. So we're gonna dive into that in just one second. While I'm waiting for everybody to get into the room, I wanted to kind of let you guys in on something that I was working on last night. I was talking to someone yesterday and I was like, okay, I'm about to start. Just FYI, just for anybody who knows, I lost my dad probably almost a year to this day. It'll be a year on the 17th of December. And I finally decided, okay, maybe I need to go see like a grief counselor or something like that. So in this period of time yesterday, as I was thinking, I was like starting to ask ChatGPT some questions. I know ChatGPT is not the therapist, right? But I wanted to really start figuring out how to make some different changes in my life. So I started going down this rabbit hole of getting ChatGPT to ask me questions that would help me get some clarity. And what I started to realize was, okay, these are questions that I feel like a lot of people may be having or may need. And so what I did was I created this little I call it a pivot pack. It's basically a package of chat GPT prompts, right? That will basically help you get clarity within 7 days because we're entering 2026. And I know a lot of people are feeling stuck right now and they feel like they want to change, they want to do something different, and they want to reclaim their lives. So basically, this is to help anybody out there get clarity within 7 days, but then change the trajectory of their lives within the next 30. So what I did was I essentially took those prompts, I took it from a PDF and then I put it into an app that you see here. And it's basically, you just basically take those prompts based on these different aspects of your life. So whether you're looking at health, wealth, fitness, self-worth, trying to heal yourself, your relationship with yourself, or your relationships with other people, or spirituality, basically these are prompts that you will put into Chat GPT to get it to ask you questions so that you start to get clarity on what it is that you want, what you want to change, what you want to do differently, how you want to see yourself within the next 7 days to 30 days to the next 90 days to really help you make that change. Anyway, this was something that helped me get clarity. So I just thought it might help somebody else get some clarity as well. The link is in the description for anybody who may decide that you are interested in making a change or you're just getting unstuck. Super helpful. Okay, so look, y'all, Simone. Okay, let me put y'all comments on the screen. Okay. Um, yo. This episode is titled, it's season 12, episode 3. It's called Players Ball. Dr. Contessa plans a 70s themed birthday party. Dr. Simone's son surprised her with a graduation dinner and a pricey request. Brandy's husband throws her a birthday dinner, but not all the ladies are impressed. Okay, so the biggest thing to come out of this episode, y'all, was at the end. We do go through what I liked about this episode of Married to Medicine definitely focused heavily on like marriages. And I kind of like that I wasn't expecting this when I saw this particular episode, y'all. I really wasn't. I kind of was expecting, I'm not going to lie, I was expecting some manufactured drama. I was expecting a couple of little gang ups on some new girls. Because I had not really seen the first 2 episodes of the season, I just kind of went into it expecting, oh, it's going to be same old, same old. But this particular episode kind of made me feel like I had gone back in time a little bit with Married to Medicine. like I was almost like, oh, this is back in the day style because it was so super raw with the Simone stuff. And I was just like, oh, Contessa, yes, Contessa and Simone. And I just felt like, wow, like, okay. I mean, now, is this necessarily a redo of past drama that we have seen with the two of these ladies and their men? Yes and no. It's a little bit more advanced than I think the drama that we've seen before from them in the past. So let me just kind of run down the list. So essentially, Dr. Contessa is throwing herself this is her last year in her 40s. So she wanted to throw herself a birthday party because she's never had a birthday party. And so it appears as though she never even I don't know if she ever handed this off to Scott and said, "Hey, can you do this?" Or if it is just that the expectation in their household is that if it is something that she wants to be done, then she has to do it in order for it to turn out the way that she wants it to. And I will tell you guys this, that um every relationship is usually going to have two different types of people. Most times, right? It's very rare that you're going to find, I think, two people in a relationship who are kind of like the mm, there's usually a type A person and there's usually a type B person. The type A person at times will often feel like they are hard to please from the type B personality. So what ends up happening is the type B personality, which is typically a more laid back type of personality, and then the type A personality is typically a lot more, aggressive, assertive in terms of what they want, how they do things. And so it can appear, and I feel like Dr. Contessa may be type A and Dr. Scott may be type B. I feel like it can appear to maybe Dr. Scott, the Dr. Contessa is like, this is how I want things. This is how I see it. I take care of business, and anything that you do, you're not going to do it as well as I want, as I expect it to be done. And so what happens is over time, it becomes a learned response that nothing you do will ever be able to get to the level of what they want because their expectations for themselves and their world is very, very high. So then you fall into this trap, right? That person's Dr. Scott, maybe I'm just making an assumption, falls into the trap of not doing anything because you feel like, okay, nothing I do is going to be that good. Whereas the other person is like, okay, well, yeah, my expectations are high because I want the best for me and I want the best for you. And because I'm so used to going after what I want, then I go get it and I do it. But dang, can you help me a little bit sometimes? Like, can you step in? But then what is sometimes happen is they work themselves in this routine where the one personality begins to do everything, right? And so it could be that military part of her that is very much like boom, 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 boom. This is the way I think. This is how I move. This is how I grew. This is how I do things. And for him, it's like, well, I'm never going to be able to achieve what she wants in the way that she wants it. So I won't even do nothing. And he seems very comfortable in that. But I think what she's trying to say without saying is that I do want you to step in and do something because I'm starting to feel like I have to do everything. Not to mention this party is $40,000. But there's something else that was said when Dr. Scott was actually given the speech at her party, this $40,000 party, by the way. He said something to the effect that his mom, was it his mom that said that she was like Rose from the Titanic or something like that? And Quad asked a great question, like, why must my value be tied to my level of struggle to do things and to keep you and to do all of these things? Why must it be tied to this struggle? And I thought to myself, dang, that is a very good point. I feel like I see more and more, especially a lot of Black women express this notion that, why does my identity and worth to some people, some certain groups, have to be tied to the amount of struggle that I am exhibiting, such that people finally see and hear what it is that I am saying? and I'm crying out for help, and I've got to be severely struggling in order for you to want to do anything to move or to help me. No, that can't be the case. Like, it can't be that I am the loving wife because I sacrificed everything, all of my hopes and my dreams and my happiness and everything, and for you to realize that I am the one for you. No, what are you sacrificing, sir? You've got to start sacrificing something. It can't just be that one person is comfortable and the other person remains in discomfort in order to make this relationship work. It can't be that way. And I wonder too if that is also the case for the Whitmore household, because it does seem to be that Dr. Simone and Dr. Contessa, whether we you don't see it outwardly because Cecil appears to be a lot more present, but you do, as I take a step back and I listen to what Dr. Simone is saying, the issues are very different in the relationships, but they may stem from the same difficulties when you really take a broader look at what is really happening in this dynamic, right? Because through the episode that is framed with Dr. Contessa and this party that she's having to throw for herself is also, and this is, now that I think about it, this episode was very smartly edited and put together, because as we are framing that, we're also juxtaposing that with Brandy, which is the new Married to Medicine personality, her husband throwing her maybe a much less expensive dinner, you know what I'm saying, for her birthday. Um, but it was still, she was super thankful to him on the phone. She was super gracious about how he did that. So much so much so that it seemed to irk Dr. Contessa. And I don't understand why it did, because not only why could she not be overly thankful, okay, that he did something like this for her? Maybe that's out of his comfort zone. Maybe he stepped out of his comfort zone and did something that he would not normally do. Maybe he does this all the time. Who knows? Who knows, right? But I just feel like Dr. Contessa was taking this in as a personal attack, that Brandy's husband had done something for her that she maybe perhaps wasn't also actually getting. And so it was interesting to see that juxtaposition and how that created tension within the group, specifically for Dr. Contessa. And Toya calling out, "Girl, you are always complaining. You are always complaining. Always." That's what Toya says to Dr. I mean, if this is where you kind of start to really appreciate Toya, because Toya will say the things that maybe nobody else in the group might say, even if it's to her, somebody she's actually getting along with at that moment. And Dr. Heavenly is very much like, "Girl, no, I am not saying nothing about Dr. Contessa and her man, because I have learned she will complain about him one day, and then it'll be something, she'll forget that she complained the next day." I might look at that situation a little bit differently for Dr. I don't know what the conversations were like with Dr. Heavenly and Dr. Contessa back in the day, but my assumption is that maybe they had private conversations about Dr. Scott. And at that point in time, it became a situation where Heavenly would be like, "Girl, stop all this complaining. And if you're going to complain, just leave. If you're not going to leave, then stop complaining." But I would wager to think that for Dr. Contessa, it is like, yes, I can complain about my husband, but you can't talk about him. And I think that that's reasonable, right? It's pretty reasonable, because, like, you can complain about your family, but let somebody else start talking about your sister or your mama or something like that, and you too will go off, Yeah, so it's kind of like, yeah, I can complain about this, but you can't. Don't you start talking about it, because I'm coming to you as my friend. But I appreciate the way that Toya at least acknowledged it publicly, like, "Girl, stop complaining." I feel like that's a better way to handle it than maybe what happened between Dr. Heavenly and Dr. Contessa back in the day. So again, these are interesting little juxtapositions that I feel like I noticed within the episode. But let's also take a look at Dr. Simone, because there's a much broader conversation that we need to have, especially with what happened online. And I don't know, did y'all see the live from last night? Baby, let me tell you something. We're going to go through it. We're going to go through it. We're going to go through it. All right. Okay. So, it's a mouthful. It's a mouthful, but I love episodes like this because they really do give me some grounded reality for which to speak about, and I think that that is pretty much where I'm at with these things these days. I used to just get into like, oh, what's going on? What's the tea? What's the shade? But that bores me now to a certain degree because I feel like when you go through things in life, certain things just don't matter no more. And I understand that it may affect my channel in terms of like how I do things at this point, but I gotta stay true to how I feel about things and what life is like for me right now. Okay. And hopefully it reflects what life is like for you. All right, so let's get back to the reality of it all. So Dr. Simone meets her and Cecil, they have dinner with her two sons. It's Michael and Miles. Is that correct? Am I correct in that? I can't remember the other one's name. Michael. It's Michael, right? Somebody tell me in the chat. Anyway, listen, the one I just have to say sounds super spoiled. He sounds super entitled. Um, he is very much seemingly acknowledging or makes it seem as though the positioning of this family is that it seems as though Dr. Simone is the breadwinner, or she is at least the person who is supplying most of the funds to Michael, or both, perhaps. Michael, who has had the Jeep from 2016, who is ready for something different. You know, he is just like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm still riding around in this Jeep. And apparently, he wants to go to law school, but he is looking for, mm, Dr. Simone to continue to foot the bill. Now, Michael's argument for this is, well, the rich white kids, their families do for them. And then they come out and then they are much better positioned to receive, wealth and all of the things that come along with having a wealthy family. Okay. So he believes that just like the rich white kids, I'm using his words, he too should be taken care of, in the same way. Now, as he decides that he is going to go into law school, all right. So I want to just start there first. Do you know how much law school costs these days? I have I have I know. Oh my God! Now that I think about it, I'm kind of like I have several key women in my life who are have gone to law school, who are attorneys, whether they are trademark attorneys, civil rights attorneys, sports agents, um, contracts attorneys. I mean, I guess that's a great thing, right? To be surrounded by women who are in this space. Uh Having said that, because I know those same women, and I understand the sacrifices that they've had to make in order to get through law school, I know how much it costs, and to varying degrees. And for Dr. Simone to have helped with um with the houses and potentially whatever else, and for him to have gone through $60,000 with the Chase card, I think within a year's time, I would I would wager to say that this young guy is pretty spoiled. Um, and the problem then becomes who helped him become spoiled? Who helped him become entitled, right? And as much as I think that I don't know that there's a wrong way to do this. I don't know that there's a right way to do this. All I know is that what's done is done. Okay. when I was in school, my thing with my parents' thing for me was, as long as you're in school, you won't have to work. That was their thing, because they wanted me to obviously get my education, finish it off, and be able to do it in a way that was not taxing to me, right? And I did go to grad school, but grad school was very different for me because I ended up getting assistantships, which also paid for my tuition. So I wasn't necessarily reliant on my parents to pay the tuition for school for that. But I did get, an allowance up until the point where I left grad school. So I cannot say that I was not in a similar situation. Maybe I wasn't spending $60,000 on the Chase card, but I do think that I was well taken care of. And I'm forever grateful for that. And I didn't take that for granted. So it's interesting to hear him sort of positioning her money in the way that he is seemingly doing. And he's kind of smart about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and at one point she has to tell him, like, you can't be talking to the person that you're asking for money in this way. And I 100% agree with her. And I think that Cecil is definitely probably more inclined to want to maybe sort of be BFFs with the boys than maybe laying down the law in the way that I think that maybe he could be, in terms of supporting the fact that Simone is having to shell out all of this money, because she makes the case that if I didn't have to pay for your education, I could retire. Okay? I could retire. And so what happens is, now Simone is not only upset about, I mean, because she goes off, okay? And rightfully so in that moment. The way Michael was speaking to her, and the way that I felt like Cecil was not necessarily supportive of her. And again, it goes back to, how much does this woman have to struggle in order for somebody to hear her that she is not well, okay? She is not okay. So no one is hearing her. That's what I feel like. And it goes back to that thing that Quad stated. Why is it wrapped up in this fact that I have to struggle and nobody else is seeing the fact that I am struggling? You know? And so to a certain degree, it's kind of like no one is thinking about her in this situation, in terms of everybody seems to be just thinking about what they can get from her. And so then what happened last night?
And for the people that watch Bravo will know what I'm talking about. But
I watch a lot of Bravo, and I watch Camille Grammer on Housewives of Beverly Hills. Explain what you mean by saying you feel like Camille Grammer.
I kind of feel like Camille Grammer tonight.
All right. So when he says that he felt like Camille Grammer, what he was saying was, for those of you guys who may not understand, Camille Grammer, when she went on to Real Housewives of Beverly Hills season 1, she was married to Kelsey Grammer. And it was revealed by the end of season 1 that he, in fact, actually wanted to get a divorce from her. How does this correlate to what Cecil is saying? Well, at the end of last night's episode, Dr. Simone admits to the group that she does not want to be married anymore. Okay? She don't want to be married. That's what she said. Now, whether it was in a moment of frustration, actually it was not. Because on Watch What Happens Live, Simone then stated she is very thoughtful with her words. She knows exactly what she's going to say. Now, did she actually plan to say that in that way? Maybe not, but that frustration has been on her mind. Okay.
Watching the show. And for the people that watch Bravo will know what I'm talking about. But
I watch a lot of Bravo, and I watch Camille Grammer on Housewives of Beverly Hills. Explain what you mean by saying you feel like Camille Grammer.
Where Kelsey Grammer basically put her on the show because he was going to get a divorce.
And so you felt like this season you were on the show so
Tonight,
that I
tonight,
could
just
get a
tonight.
divorce.
He felt like
No.
watching the episode tonight.
Watching the episode
He just
tonight and
felt
watching
like
what
how
happens live,
he imagined
it's
how.
like, oh, I could see how Camille Grammer felt.
Yes, I felt
And
that.
I don't think. I mean, if I were on and I was saying the same thing, if when I had the interview with Carlos King, if I had got on there and said the same stuff that you were saying, you would be hurt. And I think you'd have to admit that. And so the only thing I'll say is this, and this is where reality TV sometimes isn't all reality, because they only show, so that scene they only showed probably about 5 minutes, and we filmed that scene for probably close to an hour. So there was a lot of stuff said. There was a lot of things that went on behind the scenes that you don't get to see.
I didn't even think about, like, honestly, for me, sorry to cut you off. I didn't even, like, facts. You're right. And me and Mama talked about that, but I didn't even think to bring that up. Like, I almost forgot about, like, what the conversation was
But
about.
what
That really
wasn't
don't matter.
said with breaking the fourth wall was so irrelevant anyway. And Cecil, to act like that I've never said at all off camera this season about the fact that we were having difficulties. It was getting difficult for me to deal with those difficulties. It's exhausting that you can never see my point of view when dealing with the boys. You throw me under the bus with the boys. You disrespect me when it comes to.
I don't think Dad's saying that he.
Camille Grammer was caught completely off base when Kelsey wanted to divorce her.
Fair. He was just saying he was really just.
And he's basically comparing
Mama,
himself to
mama,
Camille
mama.
Grammer, and I just think it's weird. I think it's weird to come on with that analogy.
What basically.
All right. So if there's two things happening here, right? If in fact it is that he did not ever know she did not want to be married, that would be the reason why he feels blindsided by that. But for her, I'm sure what she is saying is, I have been crying out for help. No one has been listening. It's been how many years, and this has been happening. You've known how I felt about all of this. It sounds like two different things. He's known that she's been feeling a certain type of way, but he did not know she was at the point where she did not want to be married. Okay, that's what it sounds like is happening here.
He's saying is that watching the show tonight, it basically felt like a, what's that called when they put someone on top of the stage and a roast. He basically felt like he was watching the show and getting roasted, basically.
So, like, for example,
but to say that we don't have a roast in real life is weird, because again,
he didn't say, but Mama, see, but
I'm not saying that. All I'm saying though is this, though.
It's going left, y'all. It's going left.
Simone, the only thing I'm saying is this. When I do wrong, when I'm not doing something that you feel is off, I think it's fair for you to speak on it. I think you're giving your opinion, and I think that is totally fine. Where I have an issue, though, is that when you speak on and make a comment that, oh, I've been married 29 years, he's not going to do anything. That gave.
But I didn't say that. That is how you took that.
What did he say?
Yeah, you said nothing's going to change. I've been married 29 years.
What he's talking about are my conversations about Contessa and Scott, and how you start the marriage is how it's going to be. So if you never expected gifts, if you never expected birthday gifts, girl, you're not getting them now.
So I
never said that you didn't throw me a party, or you don't. You've done amazing for my birthday. And maybe it could be that just my speaking, and you're already in your feelings about this episode, that you are taking it in just based on everything I'm saying. But I do believe how you start is how you finish. And you, other people being before me was not new to my marriage.
Well, first off.
Oh, I didn't, you know what's funny? I didn't hear that last part when I was listening to it last night. When she says it's not new, other people coming before me is not new to my marriage. Remember, what was that girl's name? Was the lady named Tammy? I guess maybe one of his best friends or something like that. I feel like this is back where we were several years ago, and it feels as though the cycle has maybe continued for her and him. But I didn't peep that the last time. I didn't peep it because I was getting ready for bed last night. I just happened to be looking on Instagram and I caught this. And so the reason why someone asked, why is the son there? They were having a family live, I think, because I think maybe people were commenting about the son seeming entitled. And I think after seeing them on Watch What Happens Live, it was her. She was on with Kiana, and her son Michael was in the audience, and he was definitely looking kind of shocked or at least sad when she started mentioning the stuff with like Cecil and how that's how she felt about, she didn't necessarily know she wanted to be in the marriage. What she said was true. And so I think what he wanted to do in terms of being a part of this conversation was maybe bring some light to how their family dynamic actually is. But I think, again, because of the heated nature of where they are, things went left.
Let me say this. I think that statement is a statement that people say often in relationships, but in relationships, you're not training anyone. You're not going to shape anyone. People are who they are, and people change in relationships. People start off one way
and some people never change in relationships.
Some do and some don't. But if they change, it negates the point that you made. And the point is that someone can change. And all I'm asking the people that are on here, the 450 people on there, when you made the comment, did you take that comment to mean that Cecil ain't doing shit for Simone? I'm asking the people, not how you felt.
Right, but why are you more, but Cecil, this is what I'm asking you, babe, before I get in my car and head home. Why are you more concerned about what the people think than what was my actual intent?
Well, but I'm not clear on.
See, and this is also too where Simone has to also kind of realize that she's also speaking from her place of maybe fatigue with the situation. So things that she is also saying are also going to give the impression of her not wanting to be there, right? So whether or not she says that, well, I wasn't speaking about you, it's going to still sound like that because your intent now is, I don't really feel like being here because ain't nobody hearing me. So everything that you say is kind of gonna, I could see why he would hear that. Because I was thinking the same thing as well. You're probably thinking that. So yes, I mean, I think he's utilizing other people's feelings about what she said as validation for, this is how I received it and this is how other people received it. So whether you had a different intent or not, this is how it came across.
What your intent was. Well, your intent on Scott,
these people you
me?
Don't know ain't paying nary $1 bill in your house.
Yeah, I'm not concerned.
You are concerned. You are concerned. You're asking the people what they think.
Well, but again,
we are on
a live. If you just like, come on,
let me do. Hold on.
Come on, but then ask the people what they think about the parenting that happened at that table.
All right, so this is, at this point, I'll let y'all know. I went ahead and stopped recording because I was like, it's being derailed. Okay, so yeah, things went a little left. They did. And at first my thought was, oh, y'all need to take this off live. But then I thought to myself, I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna say that because this adds to the story of what we're seeing play out on screen. And so this definitely gives more weight to things that she said in the episode. And it gives more context and clarity to how he felt because we did not get that in the episode. And because the episode left us on such a cliffhanger with regards to them, and then you watch What Happens Live and you got even more detail, we never got Cecil's perspective. And so it's really interesting to see the dynamic play out, especially with the whole family there. It's interesting. It's very, very interesting. And again, I personally, this is the Married to Medicine that I feel like so many of us became accustomed to, with seeing these types of real dynamics play out and less contrived, like cast member versus cast member drama that just feels inauthentic. I came to see this type of what's really happening with people, and do I want them to get a divorce? No, but I do think it gives context to, oh, she's still feeling those effects. And in relationships, sometimes these things don't necessarily work out just because we saw them have a happy ending at that one reunion. What is the story beyond that happy ending? So clearly the story is still being written, and I just thought it was it's fascinating to watch. It's fascinating to watch it. Now we're going to discuss Real Housewives of Potomac real quick, because I also think that we had some interesting scenarios happening on Potomac. Now, this is, what episode is this? This is episode 11 of season 10. It's called Leases Up, Giddy Up. How apropos, right? How apropos. Okay, so it says Tia treats the ladies to a proper day of polo. Angel is blindsided by a sudden change in her move-in plans. Giselle and Wendy organize a Potomac and Ponies theme day, but the gossip about one rumor reaches a boiling point. Okay. So in this episode, yes, Tia does invite the ladies out to a polo event with her, I guess, with her firm. We see that Stacey does not go. What we do see with Stacey is her sitting down for what I thought was a hilarious little meeting with Kiarna to once and for all settle their issues. You know, Stacey completely skipping past the fact that burrata has cheese in it is like hilarious to me. Even though Kay tells her repeatedly, I have a cheese allergy. When you watch that scene play out on social media, it appears as though Kay is just being like extra by saying, I just told her I was allergic to cheese and she's ordering the burrata. When you watch the scene and they're asked about their appetizers, it is asked as though they're going to be sharing the appetizers. And I think that's why Kay responded the way that she did. But it was still absolutely hilarious that Stacey completely skated past that, not once, but twice. And they do come to a little bit of a resolve after some back and forth about where the issues really started to stem from. So I tell you all the time, I love a one-on-one sit down. It was high past time for the two of these ladies to do so. And I'm glad that they finally did it. They both look stunning in that sit down. So I appreciated that. But the core of this episode is a couple of things. Angel, we learn as Kay and Tia are headed to her home, is having a move out special. I mean, when I say that, I mean she's packing up her things. And by things, I don't mean furniture. I just mean what she came in the door with. Okay. The clothes on the backs, the clothes in the suitcases, and they got to skedaddle because via text message she received a notice that checkout time is at 12 and she must vamoose. Toodle do, she must go. So, you know, for me, okay. This was apparently a 6-month rental, right? I'm probably more used to rentals where you signed some documentation, right? And typically, I don't know how short-term rentals go in terms of like getting a 6-month rental or like a 3-year rental. Like, I'm assuming this is very much different, right? So a 6-month rental, and then just seeing via text message, girl, you got to check out today by noon. Okay, and we'll see you all on your way out the door. Please leave the keys on the counter and don't let the doorknob hit you where the good Lord split you. Why didn't you know that your lease was to me, Angel seemed, when being questioned about it by Ashley. Now, granted, Ashley is maybe not people's favorite person to be questioning things. But Ashley basically states, I can't in my mind picture you being the type of person that doesn't know when your lease would be. I mean, when your rent, I can't say lease. Is it a lease if you rent it? I don't know. When your rental would be up. I think that's the thing that is unclear to me, is that she was like, when asked about how long she had gotten it for, she is very cagey, like, I don't know. Yeah, girl, And it's like, what? It's positioned as though you did not. I mean, this again, to me, watching the scenes play out, it's positioned as though you just arbitrarily received a notification that, oh my God, in one sense, it sounded like the place was double booked. And then in another situation, it sounds like, oh, this was always your checkout date. And then, furthermore, why not just get another because if it was Airbnb, right? Why not just get another Airbnb? I mean, to be like, oh my God, we gotta go all the way back to Colorado. I mean, I guess I don't question this happening. I don't see anything necessarily wrong with getting an Airbnb per se, because I mean, I'll be honest with you guys. I About 2 or 3 years ago, I had actually I was trying to do 3 Airbnbs. Yes, I did, and it stressed me the heck out. Okay, in terms of managing it. And I said, "Get me and my kids out of here. I don't have any kids." Okay. That's how bad I was frustrated with the whole process of managing. And I learned very quickly that it is not for me. And I had to fight tooth and nail to get out of it. So for me, um, now I know a lot of people have very good success with managing and owning and having Airbnbs, but if that's your thing, that's great. So I guess for me, I'm thinking if you're looking at a luxury Airbnb, would you not know or not get a notification before a couple of days that you gotta be out of there? Or in my situation, or I would wonder, we've gotta just go to a high class hotel, stay for a couple of days until we find another place. I don't understand it. Because it seems like to have to pack it all up and we've gotta just go back to Colorado is like, I mean, that's rather extreme given that you've signed up for the show. So when Tia tells Giselle is like, "Oh, she just signed. She got this place just so she could be on the show." Kay tells us that that's not the case on Watch What Happens Live. That she had been planning to come back for a long time, and that the timing just worked out. But when Tia tells Giselle, it is not on some gossip. It is really not. And hey, love you too. It is not on some gossip. It is really on some, girl, this is what's happening. You need to call her and check on her. And I'm like, Tia, you clearly don't know Giselle all that well. Okay. But when Giselle hears it, she's like, oh, okay. So Giselle, also having been in the world of reality TV for a longer time, is probably a bit more jaded in this. And it's probably like, she got this so she could be on this show. She thought that they was going to be finished filming within the 6-month period of time. And now when she realized that they weren't finished filming, now she got to get up and get out of there. I was like, oh, okay. Okay. Um, So I don't know. I guess that was my only thing is, again, I don't have a problem with it being an Airbnb. I don't even have a problem with her getting a place here for the purposes of filming. I mean, I get it. If you've signed on to the show, now you've got to be here. You've made the commitment. You want to move anyway, maybe, and it's just the timing is off. What I question is, girl, why don't you know when it's time to go? And why wasn't a plan not put into place? That's the problem that I have. Two different issues, right? Okay, so and I don't I guess you can't be I mean, it's not an eviction, is it? As much as a girl, you got to go. I don't know. So anyway, now what is interesting though is when Giselle, Wendy, and Ashley meet up to discuss, the planning of Giselle and Wendy's event that they're having together. We learn that when Giselle tells the girls about what's going on, Wendy lets us know that she has a realtor friend who apparently knew of some girl or angel, okay, who allegedly was looking for a place that looked like it was maybe $50,000 per month, but only wanted to spend $2,000 to $3,000. Now, here's the thing. The reality of all this is, yes, I am quite sure that Angel wanted or may have wanted a really luxurious looking place. Okay. She probably wanted to be in the luxury looking place. She wanted to be in Potomac. Give me glamour. Give me a castle with a moat, but give me a castle with a moat on a budget. Okay. I want Balenciaga on a Temu budget. Give me that. If y'all got something like that around here, cool. Give me about 6 months. Bada bing, bada boom. I'm gonna have the show done, and that's gonna be that. Again, but still, you should know the date you gotta move out, girl, or get an extension. Now, or get a place where you can have a little bit more leadway in terms of like, I don't know. I really don't know. And Tia is a realtor. You could either be asking her for some referrals. I don't know. And so anyway, all I know is there is that. But Wendy is very much like, yeah, they were looking for this type of place on this type of budget. But then, with knowing what we know about the Wendy situation, and as much as I love Wendy, it's probably not the best idea for them to be constantly talking about, yeah, we're doing these renovations. We spent $100,000. We're over budget. Bada bing, bada boom. We're in the money. We're in the money. We're just swimming in money. Yes, we're getting the Reno, all of the things. I want the bells, the whistles. Give me an elevator. I mean, she didn't say that, but that's how I felt when I saw the scene, knowing kind of what I know about where they are. I just was like, ooh, I don't know how that's going to play out. Clearly people are going to be all at this point in time speculating about what their financial situation is. And then the more that Wendy continues to give the people, it's kind of like, oh, girl, no. Maybe let's not talk about the $100,000 plus renovations right now. Maybe this is not the year for that. I mean, maybe just say, oh yeah, we were getting it renovated. We just had them they just did some paint on the cupboards. We just got a little we got a little backsplash from Amazon. That was about it. We got a little LED light over here. We did the LED light right there under the cabinet or something like that. Yeah, and I got a new pan for the oven. Yeah. Yeah, we got that, and I got some new plates. And that's all we did this year. That's all we need to say. We don't need to talk about $100,000 renovations. No, we got a little paint spackle right there. I put the drywall up myself. Yep. I actually built a new pantry all by myself. I saw what the Kardashian girl did, and I said, I'm gonna DIY it. DIY, whatever you call that thing. I don't even know what it's called. I just know I did it, right? Yeah, and I actually I mixed the paint myself because I churns my own butter. I churns it myself, and I don't spend no money on nothing. And I don't no this jewelry right here. Oh, this ring. Oh, I got that from I got this from Rave. At the mall before the store closed. Yeah, that's this ring. That ring, and that ring. It looked just like that other ring, but this one is from Rave. From Rave, you see it? Yes. Yeah. So there we go. All right. Now we get to the event of the evening, and it is a Western themed affair where the kids are invited. Stacy brings Timu. And so all the girls are gagged along with potato salad, which no one wants to eat. Potato salad is not something I would ever agree to bring unless I was buying it from the store, because people are very finicky about potato salad at events. I just wouldn't trust myself to bring it. Not only that, I've never made potato salad. Stacy herself has confessed that she has the most amazing potato salad. Talk about limp, talk about stones, talk about drama. I'm like, girl, I don't believe you ever made a potato salad in your life, but let's go with it. Okay. Now, aesthetically, it did look like potato salad, but potato salad can look very, very different. Some people's potato salad looks more like they put more mustard in there. It has more of a yellowish tinge to it. Some people's potato salad looks a little more cream, like like a little off-white or something like that, with a little bit of paprika thrown on it. That's the type of style that Stacy had looked like she had. Whether she got this from the store or whether she made it herself, we will never know, because it's Stacy that we're asking, and so she will always leave us guessing, whether high or low. Okay. Now, who made the cobbler? Somebody made some cobbler. I don't forgot who it was. I like that they did a potluck. I think that this felt more like or organic, Wendy bringing the Popeyes chicken. I definitely like my Popeyes chicken, so I mean, could I go there for lunch today? Anyway, I digress. I eat healthy until I don't. I'm hungry now. Sidetrack. The point of this whole situation is that all the girls come, all the men are there. Now, the girls have a problem because Angel is 2 hours late. Okay. We'll get to the catfish in a minute. Angel was 2 hours late. And when Kiana calls and she's like, hey, girl, where you at? Angel is like, 2 hours away. Y'all know she's probably packing up her home with all her clothes or whatever like that and trying to just leave the place or flee the scene. I don't know what she was trying to do. But anyway, she got things on her plate. Okay, that's what I got to say. And so when Kiana's like asking for more specifics, now being 2 hours away for an event is kind of like, okay, girl, you pushing it. But again, given the circumstances, I get it. But the girls get upset when, no Google, you listening. Okay. I hate when the phone does that. I'm not even talking to you. Anyway, Bobby is like, we'll get there when we get there. So the girls hear him on speakerphone and their feathers are ruffled. They are offended. Meanwhile, I was kind of chuckling to myself because I was like, this man got to move up out of his house. He probably got to drive from here, there to everywhere. I'm sure this man is stressed. We'll get there when we get there. But I also don't blame Giselle for being like, well, don't come then, right? Because at the end of the day, it's like, we don't even really know you that well. You barely go here. If you're gonna have that type of attitude, keep your butt at home. But I could see the man being frustrated and kind of annoyed, like, because I'm sure producers are asking. I'm sure it's not just Kiana asking. Yo, so you got to remember there's probably a lot more to it. But again, I don't fault him. I sensed frustration, but I also don't fault Giselle for being like, well, don't even come. Don't come. Okay. How about that? So when she does get there, something that I didn't realize until I watched it back and I watched the after show was the fact that Angel, when it is called out that Ashley has brought catfish, Ashley has brought this catfish um specifically to be messy with Angel, right? Now, as Dr. Wendy is announcing who brought what in the catfish, and she says the catfish was brought by Ashley, the catfish, she notes in her after show interview, she's like, it's funny to me that all of Angel's angst is geared toward me. But when Ashley, who has brought this catfish to be specifically messy towards you, you don't have no energy to her face for her, right? So it constantly feels like it is just directed to Wendy, right? So I didn't pick up on that until I watched the after show. So I was like, that's interesting as well. But in the after show, Angel does go off on Ashley, but she does not do so to her face. Meanwhile, it is then asked of Angel, girl, what's going on with your move? The folks say you had to move out in the heat of the night. What's going on? And that's when Ashley questions her, like, and Ashley goes there. Ashley says, well, as a mom, surely you would not know about what your move out date is. I can't picture you. Basically, she's saying, I can't picture you being that irresponsible to not know as a mother. And I was like, ooh. I don't know if anybody else picked up on that. It was a jab, but the way she phrased it was wrapped up in a less offensive way, because it was basically like, I know you're I know you're responsible. Surely you wouldn't do this, especially as a mother. And I was like, ooh. Now that was some lethal shade right there. Lethal in the way that there was, well, why didn't you know? I mean, I did want to know that, girl. Like, why didn't you know that? Somebody, nobody knew. But anyway, there we have it. That's the episode. And so we leave off with Dr. Wendy basically saying, well, the girls are saying that you was evicted, child. So what really happened? And so we're left pretty much there. In the next episode, at some point, they're going to be all going to Colorado, which makes sense since it sounds like Angel has to skedaddle back there. But yeah, the next episode, it looks like we're seeing some other type of drama with Wendy, her mama, and her dad, and stuff like that. So maybe they do end up going to Colorado in the next episode, but maybe it's just maybe towards the end of the episode. So we'll see how that plays out. Anywho, that was the episode, y'all, for Real Housewives of Potomac. And then we also discussed Married to Medicine. For those of you guys who may have missed the beginning, be sure to, again, just check it out. Let me know what you guys think. We talked about the video with Dr. Simone, Dr. Simone, Cecil, and, their family going live last night after the episode to kind of, talk about the discourse around the episode. I thought it was very interesting. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I did introduce you guys to the pivot pack, which is the prompts that I sort of went through and I kind of was developing yesterday. And I thought, okay, somebody else could possibly use this. The link for that is in the description. I talked about that at the beginning of the video. But listen, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, I personally feel like on this channel, I have to give you guys, some tea, but also some life stuff as well. So that's why I liked not only this particular episode and what we talked about at the beginning. All right. So with that being said, y'all, I will catch you in the next video.